Hi everyone, this is South Texas Gardening. I'm Allie and this is actually week 4 of my garden. I have my first raised bed here that we've been monitoring very closely, and if you notice, our zucchini is just growing really nice. It's actually taking over, so I'm not very well versed in pruning or thinning out plants, so I need to get educated on that, because the zucchini is actually covering some lily melons that I planted. I mean, this big broad leaf is covering these poor little seedlings and they're not getting enough sunlight. I think this is the only one of the lily melons that may have a chance, but it's right next to my yellow squash plant, so I don't know if they'll survive. I also planted some marigolds, but they're not getting any sunlight lately, so they may not make it, although this one may. She's a little fighter. So my zucchini and squash plants are doing really well. Hopefully we'll start to see some flowers soon. My basil was getting eaten up really bad, so I sprayed some neem oil and it seems to have been able to clear up. Now, in some previous videos I said that these 2 square feet I was planting some tomatoes from seed. The seedlings would come out, blackbirds would come and eat them, so that's why I got this guy. Soon I'm going to put him on a pole, but the seedlings were just not working out, so I broke down and I bought a bonnie plant. So here I'm growing the Husky Cherry Red hybrid tomatoes, which is pretty similar to the Sweet 100s that I was trying to grow from seed. And then here I have a jalapeno plant, which is also a bonnie plant. Next spring I'll try those seedlings indoors. I have some square feet here that are empty. I think I'm going to plant some bush beans. We'll see. Or maybe some herbs that will act as good companion plants. Over here, I had some onions, some red onion of Tropea growing here. They were all picked to death by birds. So they were all gone. I had to dig up the soil, kind of make it fresh again, and I planted some more seeds, and I'm hoping my owl will turn them away. Over here I planted some okra. The birds ate it. Here's some new okra, some spineless, and some red okra that's growing here, and they just sprouted, so I'm excited about that. This is my blackberry bush. I've put it up against my house because we're expecting a big storm pretty soon, so I'm hoping these guys will make it, but they're looking really, really nice. Something that may have attributed to the really nice way they're growing, I have put some fish emulsion on them along with some seaweed. I mixed it in with my watering can with some water, fed them earlier in the week, and they're just looking great. Citronella plant, which I'm convinced does nothing to repel mosquitoes. Right here I have a marigold growing right in the middle, and on the left side I have a jalapeno plant that's sprouting. On the right side I have an habanero plant that's growing. In this small container I had sunflowers growing from here. They stopped growing, and I suspected because it's so small, and when I took them out, roots had just completely taken over the entire container. So I took it out, said goodbye to the sunflowers, and I've planted dill in there, so we'll see how that grows. Over here I have bush beans, tender pods, and some cilantro and parsley. There's a huge spider growing in this pot, and I've decided to just let it be. And then here I have my mint. I already see some roots coming out. They're already taking over this container. I've got to add some more soil. Over here I have another raised bed. It's a 2x2. And I've got the Three Sisters method going on here. I've got some corn in the back 2 square feet. I've got some bush beans going on here, and I've got some green zucchini going on here. Now, the problem here that I'm experiencing is they're growing and they do look good. However, they have a much lighter green than what I'm seeing in my other raised bed. My other raised bed, you have dark green leaves. They look healthier, they look big. But as far as I'm concerned, what I put in this raised bed is pretty much the same. It has lots of compost. It has perlite, garden soil. It's got the same fish emulsion and seaweed mixture. Got sprayed with neem oil. I just don't know why it's not getting, I'm thinking maybe it's just not getting enough sun perhaps. I don't know. But we'll keep an eye on it. However, things are growing though. They're growing, they're progressing. They're just not dark green like I'd like to see them. But things are going well. I'm just getting a bunch of mushrooms though, and I'm wondering if mushrooms have a bad effect on my plants because they're just showing up everywhere. Over here I have some directly in the ground plants. The first thing I have here are some mammoth sunflowers, which they've started to grow these big bulbs right here. And for a long time I couldn't see what was in here. This looked fancy enough as it was, and they're very tall. You see, you know, they're mammoth. But today I started looking at the bulb and I'm starting to see some sunlight here. Some yellow petals. So I am just terribly excited to see these finally bloom. I've invested a lot of time in watering and just taking care of these sunflowers, and they're so tall. They have got to be about 4 feet tall. I've got a watermelon vine that keeps on growing out. It's starting to grow. Well, this is how long the watermelon vine. And at first it was just one long vine, but over here it's growing separate parts of it. I don't know how to describe it, but these are new. You know, they're a continuation. So it looks pretty healthy. It also got the fish emulsion. Some more watermelon vines there. They're starting to fall and starting to droop. And then here are my cucumbers, my beloved cucumbers. I've already picked my first cucumber. It was small, but it tasted great, wasn't bitter at all. But I have some more cucumbers growing here. I have a cucumber here. I have a cucumber here, which is a little misshapen. Hopefully that'll straighten out. And then I have a cucumber here. And I've got lots of female flowers going on with this cucumber plant. These cucumbers have to be watered every day or else they get droopy. And I haven't watered them today, that's why they kind of look droopy, but we're expecting a big storm. So I expect they'll get their required amount of water today. Well, that's my garden so far. Looking forward to those sunflowers. 3 sisters over there that have yet to get that nice dark green color. My plants over there that I've put on my inner patio, so I don't want them to get drenched by the rain. And then I've got my raised bed over here, which looks really good. I highly recommend fish emulsion and that seaweed. The only thing is it stinks really bad, and cats love it. They got into it, dropped the fish emulsion all over my rug. I had to wash it or spray it down. I had to put detergent. Flies were still crazy about this rug. It looks like finally the fish smell has gone, but it was an ordeal. And I had to drag that rug from my porch there. So be very careful with that fish emulsion. I put it in a plastic Ziploc bag and put it in my garage. so cats can't get to it. I think a cat also mistaked my raised bed for something else, but I haven't had a problem. And then this guy's helping me with the birds. All right, so that's week 4 of my garden. There wasn't any week 3. I was out of town, but in the last 2 weeks we've seen lots of growth. Everything looks good. My blackberry bush over there, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great week.